Hey y'all, I'm having a mic issue. All my little mics aren't working. I don't know why. They're like blinking red at me. So I'm using the microphone on my computer, which I don't think is quite as good. But let me see. Y'all let me know if you can hear me. Okay. Yes, we're doing egg-shaped ones today. Yes. Okay, I want to be sure I can see that the microphone, and I'm trying to talk loud too, but let me know if you can hear me. Okay, so, and I'm muted my computer. Yes, I did that. Okay, the 5 egg shapes. I don't know that I'm doing 5 egg shapes, but I'm showing you some different, we're doing egg boxes, kind of like we did the Peeps shaped boxes. And but it's easier, it's much easier. I made these with my first cousin's kids, who are my first cousins once removed. Somebody asked that question, like, what's once removed? You kind of have to be in a southern family to know first cousins once removed. So anyway, I made them with those kids, and one of the kids was 4 years old, and he was able to make the egg box easily. And then they, oh, 2 of my cats are fighting. I'm sorry. The girls don't like each other. Katarina and Alley Cat don't like each other. Okay, so I really kind of need to start over because I was discombobulated since my microphone wasn't working. So I'm Lucy. I think most of y'all know that. I'm Lucy, and I live in South Carolina, and my website's paperglitterglue.com. Okay, so now we're starting over. So these are the egg boxes we're going to make today. This design is from Jennifer Maker. So you can Google layered egg design or egg mandala. So she has that pattern. And then another friend of mine, Jen Swift of Well-Crafted Studio, made this design, and this is really fun. I'll show you when I use switch cameras. But I made one. This is one of my few kind of layered designs for these things, and this is it's design number 136 in the description, and I think there's a link to the tutorial as well. So there's a written tutorial if you learn better by seeing step by step. No, I got my bunny ears on, and I've splayed them out so they kind of show up better. I was going to try to make a bunny nose. Wait, I'll show you my prototype. I had to get it. I knew Ben wouldn't. My trusty assistant. So I got a egg carton, a cardboard egg carton. I thought I could make a bunny nose, but it really looks like a witch nose. So if I can figure out how to make a bunny nose, I will do that before next time, because we're going to make a bunny next time. We're going to make this little layered bunny in a basket next time. That'll be I don't know, we may do one other Easter craft, because I think Easter is something like the 20th. So I think we've got 2 or 3 more times. And I've got several Easter crafts on my website already. Okay, let's see. What else do I need to tell you? Oh, this one, you know I like piñata decorations. So I just layered crepe paper for this one. And the nice thing is, these really hold a fair amount of candy. The bunny box, because of the shape and size, it doesn't really hold that much. But the eggs, because it's a consistent container, it shows up better. Okay, so I'm going to switch now to the layered design. And first we're going to make the egg shape, and then we'll do a layered design on top. Oh, and then Ben always wants me to remind you, because he really helps me with this, to remind you that it's the Easter and Spring House Contest, the 2025 Easter and Spring House Contest. And, you know, I hope you will enter. And, you know, the idea is to encourage creativity. It's not really for contests like who wins, is to encourage creativity. And I think some of the most creative items come from the Easter contest. Somehow people just make, just kind of think of different stuff for Easter. Like I've seen a conveyor belt more than once. This year's entry from one of our kids, Maxwell, is beautiful. It's adorable. It's a conveyor belt. And then somebody made a house out of like a chocolate bunny. And, just in the past, I think we had there was an old woman who lived in a shoe. We had a shoe in it. So I just think it really is creative. So even if you think yours isn't that great, just share it with us anyway. It encourages people to put their stuff out there and share. And, creativity makes us all happy. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to my camera. So I can do the top down. I'm going to rotate it past my pewter and everything. Let's see. I think I'm going to raise it up just a little bit. So these are my 4 examples that I have. Like I said, this is a Jennifer Maker design. This is Jen Swift from Well Crafted Studio. This is Lucy, and this is me too. This is crepe paper. And I'll show you how easy it is to make the egg. And you can buy, if you want to buy some eggs, you don't have to make your own eggs, but I just like to make all the stuff. So we need 4 pieces to make the egg, 4 base pieces, and some side strips. You can make these out of cardstock as well. Try to make it a little straighter. You can make it out of cardstock as well, but I really like it out of cardboard. Okay, so first I'm going to glue some strips together. Since this is a very simple shape and a gentle curve, it's really easy, and we can glue our strips together and it won't matter much. Okay, let's see if that's long enough. The other thing is, whenever I'm working with curves, I always curve the paper material first. Let me move this over so I can see what y'all are saying. I see Cheryl here, Roberta, Sonia. I saw Kathy Bradley earlier. I don't know if I saw Amy. Martha, I did see Amy here, Michelle, Irene, Sherry, Tracy Mingle, Trisha, Deborah Bell. I'm just so happy to see y'all every week. Y'all just make my week. Okay, so remember, this is how I curve the material. And it makes it so much easier to go around a curved surface. Okay, and these are your 4 main pieces. So this is the background piece. This is the piece that goes inside. I think this is kind of the secret. This is the sort of the template that we curve around, and it makes it so much easier to glue it to the background piece, and also to make sure you're getting the right size. Okay, and this is the top piece. It's a little larger, and it goes on the background piece. So look at the size. The size difference is very subtle, but it works really well. Wait, let me see if I can separate them enough so you can see. There. So it's really about 1/8 of an inch difference, but it makes a great little box. Okay, let's make one, and I will show you the secret. It's what we did on it's very similar to what we did on the Peeps Bunny Box. And I'm applying a lot of glue. Y'all know that I'm an over gluer. So I'm applying it to all the tabs. Oh, it cannot be stopped up. How did that happen? Let's see. Of course, I put my thumb in the glue. Okay, we're going to have to use the pen from my Barely Art Glue to get this little clot out of there. Overgluer describes what I do very well. I see people who are so precise, and I'm like, how did they do that? But if I took the time to be precise, I would be frustrated. So I'd rather just overglue. And partly I try to design things so that if I overglue, you can't see it. And that's actually what the backing piece does. It covers it up so you can't see my overglue. Okay. Now, I'm going to put the seam kind of at the bottom. So here is the trick. Set your piece down. Start your siding with the tabs underneath it, and then you just slide it under. I am going to have to get Ben to help me with something. Okay, I'm asking trusty assistant to go in the kitchen and get me a small round bottle. Maybe one of the salt shakers, something like that. Not the salt shakers, but the salt containers. If they're not rounded, it's okay. This, I'm going to show you another trick I found. When you're gluing tabs down like this. Yes, he found one. Okay, thank you. He got my cinnamon. Okay, this is just a little round bottle. So what I do is I use it almost like a brayer to help squish down the tabs so that they will adhere better. And that way you're not like fighting all these little tabs to make them lay down. And also you're keeping it flat rather than curling. Okay, I'm going to wipe off the bottom. Let's see how it worked. Worked pretty good. And now all we do is apply glue on the top. They're kind of popping up now, but they won't once we put them down on our background egg. And of course I have to clean the mat, the craft mat that I'm working on. Okay, I'm trying to center it onto, you knew some painter's tape would come in at some point, didn't you? A little painter's tape to keep this edge down. Okay, so I'm trying to center it. And same thing. Let's use our little jar. This is the smaller version. The outer egg is the same size. The two outer pieces are the same size, but this is the inner egg, yes. This is the smaller one. And let's see. See? Isn't that easy? You can see why even my 4-year-old cousin could do it. It wasn't hard for him. Now, what it needs, while it's drying, I should probably put, a weight in there. Let's do a weight for a minute I'm going to use my cinnamon jar in there while I make the top one. So the same thing. Hey Karen. Apply all the glue. And again, if you make it out of cardstock, I'd use 110 cardstock. Or you could use watercolor paper. And again, if you're going to paint, watercolor paper is so nice to paint on. Partly you don't have to put down a primer. When you paint cardboard and it's brown, you need to put a layer of paint on first for two reasons: to make the paint stick well, but also because your paint color will show better on top of white than it shows on top of brownish cardboard. I don't know how much it's going to overlap. So I'm just applying some glue at the end. Okay, I've applied the glue, and this is my quick dry tacky glue. All right, I'm gonna, again, I've got where the two tabs come together, the two sheets. I cut this out of 8.5 by 11 cardboard. So I need a little, I needed to glue two strips together. And there. And you want it to be flat. If you pull it tight, it cups it a little bit. So I'm trying to make sure I don't pull it too tight. For one thing, it has to fit over the bottom piece. And they're a very good fit. I'll show you in a minute. I made some, when I first did this, I made the bottom too small, and it has a lot of play to it. I'll show you the difference when I finish. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'll set that aside. No, I'm not. I'm going to apply glue to the outside, my quick dry glue. Yes, if you clean your mat before the stuff dries, it'll really help. Okay, what did I do with the pen? There it is.
Is this Nan's question?
Somebody, no, what did Nan ask? Oh, no, these were just two different kinds of cardboard. That's why they were two different colors. So the cardboard that my friends used to save for me was coated cardboard. So one side has a slick white side, and that was some of the cardboard I used. So, no, that was a good question, Nan. How do I cut the zigzag piece? Jeannie, I do it on my Cricut, on my cutting machine. But if you were cutting it by hand, let me make sure I'm centering it. If you were doing it by hand, I would just cut a strip. I would do a score line, and then I would just cut some little triangles out, like you do when you're doing curves when you sew. I'll get a piece of cardboard and I'll show you how to do that if you're cutting it by hand. And if I'm not answering your question, then let me know. And Ben, I'm going to need a sheet of cardboard, which is over below the printer. It's on a box below the printer. Yes, just that sheet looks kind of wiggly. That sheet got wet. Get one that's pretty flat. Oh, you have a cricket. Okay, yeah, it's in the pattern. But maybe somebody wonders because they don't have a cricket. So here I'm gonna let this dry for a second, and I'm just gonna show you. I would cut this with a paper trimmer. Wait, let me make a thicker piece. I would cut this with a paper trimmer. So it's a straight strip. Oops, didn't mean to do that. And do a score line. And again, I would use my craft knife for that. Fold along it. Yeah, I put the side strips with the tabs. So then I would just do like this. Obviously, it's easier if you do it with your Cricut, but I mean, you can see this isn't that hard. So if somebody's cutting it by hand, you can make your strips that way. Okay, let's see. I think we got this one. All right, now here's the final thing. Do they fit together? And they do, and it's a nice tight fit. Now, you can see it's kind of popping up in a couple of places, so it really does need to have a weight on it for a little while. So probably just, especially since there's no glue on this, you can easily put like a book or something on top. So it'll dry flat, you know, a heavy book. And your book won't, because there's no glue here, your book won't get any glue on it. All right, so next, let's make the layered design. Now, where did I put those? You know I hide things from myself. Okay, I think this is here. So I'll show you how to, my layered design's pretty simple. I don't do a lot of these, like mandala type things. So I wanted something simple, but I also wanted it to kind of look like those Ukrainian eggs. I don't know how to say it. It begins with the P, Pasenka or something. So that's why it has a black background, like a dyed background. So that's the bottom layer. This one comes next. Then there's 2 layers for the kind of to silhouette, sort of to accentuate the tulip in the center, and then the tulip. So let's just I think we can do this real quickly. Let's see. Oh, and make sure you glue your tulip so that it, like if you end up flipping stuff over, make sure you glue it in the right shape. Okay, so the dark green goes first, and I already made a mistake. No, the dark green does not go first. Pink goes first. Let me see. Let me get my, there we go. Let's use this as a model. Boom. Pink goes first. Pink shows through. And I try to remember to do this. Yes. Oh, Gina makes those eggs. I think they're so beautiful. It looks hard to me, but I think they're so beautiful. So I tried to just sort of use the idea a little bit in paper. Okay, so remember I glued the green layer too early. In addition, I put glue where it doesn't belong. So put the glue on the layer with the most cutouts so that the glue won't show through. So this is the top layer. And I don't think it's going to matter much because the only part of the green that really shows through is in the leaves. But I made it one consistent piece just because I think it's easier to layer them all together than to have all little pieces you have to glue together. Okay, so that's the egg. This is kind of the frame for the egg. So let's add glue to the back of the top layer. Yeah, I think this is one of my very few layered patterns. Although I have learned how to do some layered stuff, like the little animals on my gift boxes. I do those. It's not so critical on houses, which is really kind of my specialty. But like some of the figures I did for the Spooktacular, there was a skeleton and a dancing skeleton, and then I did a dancing Santa, and their layers kind of built on the same concept. Although little tiny details, sometimes I glue them to the top. Okay, so try to center it. So there we go. Let's put our tulip in the center. So Gina was talking about making the Ukrainian eggs, and she said it's not as hard as you think. And the same thing, I tell people the same thing about making stuff. It's just you kind of practice and it gets better and better. You know, it gets easier and easier for you. Okay, for this, I'm going to glue the green piece to the back, the black background piece. And obviously you can use any of your colors, but I was trying to mimic those eggs, so. That's why I did black. Okay, let's lay this one down. And now let's just put this on top. Oh, numbering the pieces, that's a good idea. Especially some of these layered paper crafts are really detailed. Mine are not usually like crazy detailed, but I think numbering them is really good. I should probably number them on, usually with my designs, I do a printable PDF, a PDF that you can print so it's less confusing. And numbering them would be really good. I never thought to number them, I just always name them. That's a very good idea. I will try to remember to do that in the future. Okay, here we go. And then I painted this one, obviously. It's painted already. And then just glue it on top. Now I want to show you, I told you I made oh, and this one's pink. I think that's pretty. So I made one years ago, and I was a little insecure about the sizes. I wanted to be sure that it opened up. So you see how much give there is? That one I made too small. And so these fit much better. These are much tighter and don't slide around nearly as much. So I really like that. I think the pink one looks so good. And see, not too much. Oh, this candy's old. Pretend you didn't see that. I will empty out that candy. Okay, let me see if you have any other questions. Wait, I'm going to show you one thing before I switch cameras. And paper towel, wipe my hand. So this is my little layered bunny. I'm really tickled about him. And let me see how many layers. Just for the face, there's a black, white, pink, brown. So that's actually 4 layers just for the face. For the body, it's the body is just really 2 layers. So the legs are separate, and see, you can put an egg. I'm gonna add an egg design to it. So we will have, that one will be for next week. And I'm trying to decide what kind of basket. Let me show you. Let me get my little baskets out. This is a design I made for an event last year. So, and that's one reason the bunny is so small, but he can be made much bigger. So I'm trying to decide about a basket shape. So I may do a different basket shape for him, and I may make him bigger. So anyway, that's for next week. Next Monday, 2 p.m., Paper Glitter Glue, YouTube channel. Question, so the top strips, yes, the top and the bottom are the same height. I didn't want it to be confusing by making one taller, but they're the same height. But you can see they fit together well. And here's the one we've just made, which, like I said, needs a weight on it. So once I get a weight on it, it'll lay together really nicely. Okay, so I'm switching cameras now. Switching cameras. Back to me. So any other questions? If not, my trusty assistant and I will go get some food. That's what we generally do at this time. And I will have a brand new design for you next week. So I haven't added a new design. I've been doing a lot of old ones, partly because I've been doing this for so long, people don't know what I've got kind of in the archives. So I always want to kind of share stuff that I think's pretty neat. I've seen some egg designs, but mine's different, and I just think it's fun. But if you want to buy some things like that, you can go to like Factory Direct Craft or Oriental Trading. They have stuff like that. Okay, alrighty. If you don't have any other questions, I'm so happy to see y'all. I really appreciate you being here. And I will see you next week at 2 p.m. Okay, bye y'all.